The woman's scream cut through the alley like torn fabric. It echoed off brick walls, sharp and trembling. Marcus Reed froze mid-step, the plastic bag in his hand swinging gently. He saw her cornered by two men, their shadows stretching long under the flickering streetlight. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her status, her world, or her power. All he knew was that someone needed help, and he was the only one there to give it. Before he could think, he moved. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Marcus's heart pounded as he stepped between the men and the trembling woman. His worn jacket fluttered in the cold wind. One of the men laughed. The other cracked his knuckles. They were bigger, healthy, well-fed. Marcus wasn't. His ribs still ached from a life that hadn't been kind, but he stood tall anyway. He didn't care what they thought. He only cared about doing what was right. The men lunged. For a second, the world blurred, boots scraping, fists swinging, Marcus ducking instinctively. He took a blow to his shoulder, another to his cheek, but he didn't fall. Something kept him standing, something stronger than fear, something that whispered, if not you, then who? When the men finally ran off, cursing under their breath, the alley fell silent again, except for the woman's shaky inhale. She looked at Marcus with wide, bewildered eyes. She had elegant hands, delicate but trembling. Her clothes were expensive, her voice soft but steady. "Thank you," she whispered. Marcus simply nodded, wiping the blood from his lip. "Glad you're safe." She stared at him a moment longer, as if memorizing every bruise on his face. Then, with a swirl of perfume and cold night air, she left as quickly as she'd appeared. Marcus thought he'd never see her again. He was wrong. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the grimy windows of the county courthouse. Marcus sat alone on the wooden bench, fingers clasped tightly. Today was his sentencing, misunderstanding, a scuffle at the wrong place, wrong time. He had no money for a good lawyer, and no one here to vouch for him. People whispered when he walked in. A guard eyed him with cold indifference. The courtroom felt heavy, as if judgment lived in the air itself. "Case of Marcus Reed," the clerk called. Marcus stood. His knees trembled. Then the judge entered and the entire room shifted. She walked with quiet authority, her robe flowing behind her like a shadow of justice. The whispers grew louder, then suddenly vanished as she sat. Her eyes scanned the courtroom, and stopped. On him, Marcus felt his stomach drop. It was her. The woman from the alley, the woman he saved, the woman who, without knowing it, now held his fate in her hands. Her eyes widened, just for a second, but in that moment, something passed between them. Recognition, shock, and something deeper, gratitude. But she masked it quickly, returning to the poised expression expected of a judge. Marcus swallowed hard. How could she remain fair? Could she? Was it right for him to benefit from chance? Was it wrong to hope? Moral tension lived in the silence between their breaths. The prosecutor presented his argument, painting Marcus as unstable, dangerous, reckless. "Your Honor," he said, "this man needs to be removed from the streets." Marcus stared at the floor, words stuck in his throat. He remembered his mother's voice. "Good men don't always get good endings, son, but be a good man anyway." When the prosecutor finished, the judge finally spoke. "Mr. Reed," she said, her voice steady yet warm, "do you have anything you'd like to say for yourself?" He hesitated, and quietly, "I'm not perfect, Your Honor. I know the world doesn't owe me anything. I just try to do right when I can." A murmur spread through the courtroom. The judge held his gaze, and in her look was the memory of the alley of his bravery, of his bruised hands shielding her from danger without expecting anything in return. She breathed in slowly, as if weighing the entire world on her shoulders. Then she made her decision. "Given the circumstances," she said, "and considering the full picture of Mr. Reed's character, the court orders community service in place of jail time." Gasps erupted. A few people even clapped before the bailiff quieted them. Marcus stood frozen. Relief washed over him like warm rain. The judge added softly, almost too quietly for anyone else to hear, "And thank you." Marcus's eyes widened, but she gave no further hint, just one small secret nod. Justice had not been blind today, it had been human. Weeks later, after fulfilling every hour of his community service with genuine dedication, Marcus found himself standing outside the courthouse once more, not out of obligation, but purpose. The judge exited the building, carrying a stack of papers. When she saw him, she paused. "I didn't get to thank you properly," she said. "You already did," he replied with a shy smile. She shook her head. "No. What you did that night, you didn't know who I was. You just helped. That matters." For the first time in a long while, Marcus felt seen not as a defendant, not as a statistic, but as a man. "Most people would have walked away," she added. "Most people just need someone to believe in them," he said. The wind rustled the leaves above them, soft and warm. And in that quiet moment, both understood something simple, something powerful, something true. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes it returns in the very place where judgment once stood. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched you, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories from Whispered Words, where every tale reminds us that humanity still shines in the darkest corners. You won't believe what's coming next, so stay tuned.